All right, good morning, everybody, and welcome back. Or if it's your first time here, welcome. This morning, Kimber and I are going to load up, I believe Ace and Jenny, haul them up the road, check on the stocker calves, see how they're doing, kind of update you on them. We've had them all 4 or 5 months now, and I don't believe we've done an update, not for the YouTube channel, really, since the first month or so after we got them. So see how they're doing. We're over the halfway mark now, with it being August the 1st. As far as the time we will have them, from buying them in the spring until selling them this fall. But kind of see where they are, how they're doing, tell you some of the things that have been going on with them. As always, we encourage you to hit the like and subscribe button. Otherwise, we'll dive right into it. All right, update. Barely 7 a.m. and plans have already changed, so that's staying true to form. Kimber decided she didn't want to come ride, so it's just going to be me and Ace and 2 dogs. So if anybody's out there wondering, when women get their indecisiveness, it starts at least at age 6. So, all right, so I guess I should also take time to introduce everybody to Ace. Ace is a 7-year-old appendix, so a quarter horse thoroughbred cross. He does a really good job. He's really turned out to be just about the perfect horse for, I don't know if you call him a cow horse or ranch horse, but just a good horse to jump on, go check fences, check cows. He's good about, he'll cross a ditch, a creek, any water, log, go through any brush, anything we need him to without flinching. Calm, easy going, pretty laid back. So, but anyway, we'll get back there and check on them cows. Hey, Ace. Ace, are you camera shy? Hey, buddy. There he is. Let everybody see you. Hey, off of you there. Looks like it could rain on us. All right, and as we get ready to ride back here and see these calves, I'll just kind of recap and give everybody an update. But if you haven't watched the previous videos, I encourage you. But we bought these calves, I think the first group was on March the 10th. And we bought them basically over like the next 3 or 4 weeks following that. So we've had them all now, that it again is August 1st today. Had them all 4 to 5 months. Tight spot there. They, so we will sell them usually kind of mid to late November. Sold them a week before Thanksgiving last year. So far we've been blessed with good rain this year. The pastures have held out really well. So, of course, we like to hold on to them as long as we can, as long as the grass is holding out. Because the longer we're going to have them, the more weight they should gain, and therefore more money they'll bring. But we'll get through this. Get off and open the gate here, and then we'll see them up a little further ahead. You see this particular pasture really got some nice regrowth. It's been, I think, maybe about 3 weeks since they've been in here. We got a good bit of Dallas grass, Bermuda, Johnson grass. All make really pretty good forages. We'll actually probably let them in here into this pasture here within the next week or so. All right, so got distracted by the grass there for a minute, which, again, if you've watched any of my videos or following me on my social media, you see me talk about it all the time. I'm ultimately a grass farmer. That is our crop. We're just using these cattle to harvest it for us, turn it into something valuable. So if you are grazing cattle, you better be forage focused. But on the calves, which we should be coming up on them here in a minute, gotta go through one more gate. But we bought 72 total. We currently have 69 down here. We did have 2 die. 2 had respiratory disease. We treated them, but did have the death loss of 2. And of course, you're obviously thinking, well, you said there was only 69 now. We had 1 test DVD positive. Tested everybody, just had 1 positive. He is actually now in my freezer, so I guess we technically had 3 die, but he was taken to the processor and gone ahead and killed him for freezer beef. And that's kind of an interesting topic, because my brother and I kind of asked ourselves all along, so, we're testing for BVD, well, what do we do when we get a positive? And we had thought about it and talked to a few people, and then, of course, when we finally ran into it, it's like, okay, what do we do with him? Our options, really, we narrowed it down to, okay, we could just load him up and take him back to the sale barn, make him somebody else's problem. Obviously, just from an ethical standpoint, that wasn't really, a option we considered. Another option, just euthanize him. Just cull him, get him out of the herd. You can't sell him. You don't want to keep him around. He's going to get, the other one sick, and he's not going to do very well. So that was an option. And then the third was, that they're perfectly safe to eat. It's not a zoonotic risk. And so thankfully we had a kill date, because of course the processors are really backed up right now, but had several kill dates already booked. So we immediately isolated him, loaded him up, took him to another farm where we have no cattle even nearby, and kept him until we had an open date with the processor. And say now he's in my freezer. So 69 total heads still alive out here right now, or there was that many yesterday. Should be that many still here today. We'll find them here in a minute and take a look at them. Okay, so see there, I told you we'd find some calves eventually. So here's a few of them. This boy's doing pretty good. I'm not a very good estimate of size, but we bought these guys they averaged right at 570 pounds. Some down there, grazing on the edge of the woods. And obviously they should be gaining at least a pound a day. You'd really like for it to be a good bit more than that. We'll find out here in a few more months, what that rate of gain is. Yeah, it looks like actually scattered out amongst this one pasture. It might be most of them. We'll get a head count here in a minute. All right, as we zoom in on number 23, looking at what will be his right ear, of course, on our left. He has that fly tag, but then also see that little notch missing there at the tip of the ear. That is where we took a tissue sample. That's actually how they do the BVD testing. Well, we're kind of on that subject always. So you'll notice they all have that notch in their ear from that sample before testing. That's number 4. He is probably our cry steer. Just looking at him, I think he's definitely on the higher end in terms of size, which they all look like him. But of course, being number 4, he was out of the first bunch, so he's some of these higher numbers. He's been here, 3, maybe 4 weeks longer than some of them too. So had a little bit more of a head start, but I guess that's the way it's going to go. Anytime you have a big group like this, you get a little bit of a spread in size. Try to keep them as uniform as you can, as it's trying to rain on us again. But again, it's August. This time of year, we do not complain about rain, even if we are trying to do some outdoor activities. All right, as you'll notice, looking at all these calves, they're obviously pretty much all black or black-white face. And then we have this random Hereford right here. And she is actually the only heifer too. And so that was me, I couldn't help myself. The first bunch we bought, I was sitting there at the sale barn. She came through the ring, and if you've seen our cow herd, which we'll probably ride through them a little later on today and get them on video too. We're primarily Hereford cows, so I couldn't help myself. Said she didn't bring very much money, so I said, yeah, hey, we'll buy her. If she doesn't grow off, we'll turn around and sell her in the fall. Probably through a different sale than these steers, just because she doesn't fit with the bunch. But if she does grow off, we're gonna turn her into a mama cow for us. But yeah, that was one of the bunches that I had bought. We bought some of these through an order buyer, which anybody who, you may not be familiar with that terminology. And that's how we really bought most of these, how we bought them all last year. But basically the name kind of, as it would imply, we just call somebody, put in an order, tell them how many we want, kind of what size, and, we want black, white face steers, in the 500-600 pound range, and tell them how many they want. They ship them to us. And but then my brother and I did both go to local auction and bought some ourselves as well. It was course, an odd, the whole year. This whole year has been weird, but right when we were buying, in March and April was when things were really getting crazy, and there wasn't as much volume being run through sale barns. And don't blame anybody for that, because prices were really down, which helped us on the buying side, but because we had to buy them so many, I think it was 5 different sale dates to get to this total of 72 that we bought. We hit our local sale barn and bought a few ourselves, but yes, that's why we do have the one odd Hereford, and again, she's the only female out here as well. But anyway, looks like about half of them are right here in this pasture. There's some more on up here ahead. We'll make sure everybody's here, and then maybe get back home for some breakfast before it decides to rain on us a little more. Other than it trying to rain, it's a super nice day. The high, I had to double check 2 different weather apps because I couldn't believe it. The high today is only 76, which is just unbelievable. I noticed for the next week or so, the lows are getting down into like the low to mid 60s. So, especially for these black-hided animals, that is really nice. They ought to spend a lot more of the day on their feet grazing in those milder temperatures, because when it's getting well up into the 90s every day, the humidity we obviously deal with here in the South, they spend most of the day over there in a spot like that, just lounging in the shade. So can't underestimate, the benefits just that little bit of temperature change on these guys. All right, here I am back to getting distracted by forages. Face will hold still. Hold on, buddy. As you can see here, some of our broadleafs there. It's actually Lespedeza, so a warm season legume that's not incredibly popular, around this area, but one that we do like to utilize to give us, some added, legume presence in these warmer months when the clover is really not doing much. I'll actually have to find some, but our red clover's really held out pretty well, and still doing okay even in these warmer months. All right, we made it back to the truck here now, but you can see there's some of that red clover that's still really kind of producing right here in the mix of all this Bermuda and a little bit of Johnson grass there. But now it is really kind of starting to rain. Made it back to the truck just in time. All right, so back home, and the rain has slacked off, so I think we're going to jump right back on Ace, go check on the cow herd, which normally I would do that from the side-by-side, but kind of a long story. But as you can see right there, side-by-side's currently out of commission, getting a tire replaced. I think it's going to be next week before they were going to have that tire back in. So partly out of necessity and partly just because he's already caught and saddled up and ready to go. We're going to ride him back here and check on the cow herd. All right, and there up ahead is most of the cow herd and Brittany. We'll take a look at them. We actually just left them back into this pasture a few days ago. They've been grazing our summer annuals that we planted. They had grazed it down pretty good bit over the last 4 weeks. All right, and so as you can see, most of the cow herd there around us. Like talking about that heifer, primarily a lot of Hereford females here, with of course our Brahma influence. There's a Brahma heifer right there, or cross. She's F1, that Brahma Hereford cross. She was born last fall, but cows seem to be in pretty good shape. They're kind of on cruise control more or less this time of year. Plenty of grass. We're not calving right now. We will have some fall calves. It's one of our spring calves there is super curious. He hasn't seen a horse too many times, I don't guess, just because we don't pasture them together that often. Just being a few months old, he's very interested in what we've got going on. We have a few more of them over there, but yeah, don't do too much on horseback here at the house, just because it's so much easier just to jump on the side-by-side. But put that out of commission for today. Took advantage of the fact that Ace was already ready to go. We'll, like I said, we'll be having some more calves here in another few weeks, kind of some early fall calves. Majority of our herd does calve in the spring, and we really probably need to get them all to either spring or fall calving would probably tend to want to be in the spring, just from, you know, an efficiency standpoint. It makes more sense. You don't want them spread out like that. But with us having bought cows and heifers over the last few years, some of them are already on a fall calving schedule, so just making the decision to go ahead and do that, get them all together, is something we need to do. Nice spring-born heifer calf. That's actually the one, if you go back and watch the video, was born on camera. But turned out to be a pretty nice heifer, especially being out of a first calf heifer. That's another heifer there, one of our only horned cows, with Sadie coming in to check things out. Sadie and Brittany have done a good job keeping us company this morning. Hey, Mama. So now the rain's kind of picking up again. Looks like it's going to be kind of scattered, overcast and misty rain most of the morning, which again, fine with me. Oh, ditch. Oh, little jump. But get back to the house. It's about 8:30. Grab a late breakfast and put on some dry clothes. All right, looks like we may have some company following us back up to the barn. We have a very spoiled group of cows. They think every time they see me, that means, hey, let's come running. He's gonna give us some feed. And so they're probably gonna be a little disappointed this morning. They've got plenty of grass right there where they are. All right, so again, me being the forage nerd that I am, I actually came over here to my brother's farm. Had to bring a little diesel fuel for the bulldozer. You can see Wild Man's with me. He and my sister-in-law bought this place. It had a corn crop. You can still see some corn stalks. Last year, as soon as the corn crop was off, we came in here and drilled orchard grass, fescue, and white clover. We came back in here this spring and broadcast Lespedeza. And so he's gotten a really nice stand of everything. But kind of show you it, and he's got a lot better example of Lespedeza than that little bit we had in our pasture. But kind of show you what they've got going on. Doing this dozer work, cleaning up some where they're going to put the fence rows. They're going to put the fence along the property lines, and starting next spring, our plan is he'll have, you know, his own separate herd or separate bunch of stocker calves grazing over here. All right, so yeah, looking out here, really, especially this Lespedeza. I mean, that's what, 2.5 feet tall or so. It looked really nice. Yeah, you can still see the corn stalks from where they had corn crop in here before, but fescue really got a good stand. See the clover in there too, and some red clover as well. But yeah, really looking forward to them having this ready to go for next spring. Having another bunch of calves over here, but yeah, it's the first time I've been over here in a couple of months, and just looking at that Lespedeza, like, wow, that's a really great example of how good it does. And you can see kind of a little bit of differences between it and our clovers. But yeah, just legume, add some nitrogen to that soil, and yeah, I think we're gonna have some calves. They're gonna be happy to be grazing this next year. And as good as that Lespedeza looked just in that other field, where's a little higher ground, a little drier, just look at this clover out here, and the fescue too. This is kind of some bottom ground that stays a little wetter, has a little more moisture, but and that clover, it makes you wish you had some calves in here grazing right now. Clover, can you say clover?
Clover.
There you go. Yeah, the red clover did just extremely well. And actually, I was thinking we just put in a white clover, but obviously a lot of red in here. But yeah, this ground, you see, got a nice stand of grasses too. So yeah, really looking forward to what this looks like with some calves on it a year from now. All right, everybody, we thank you for watching. I believe that'll about wrap it up for this video. Hope you enjoyed getting to see some of the animals. You know, not only the cows, but getting to meet Ace as well, and the dogs tagging along with us. And of course, you know, getting to dive into the forages and kind of study those a little more. But anyway, appreciate you watching. Encourage you to come back again next time. Please hit the like and subscribe button, share it. And as always, eat beef and God bless.